I need to start that video again. That one didn't work. Right, let's go again. Guys, we've analyzed. Okay, this will be better. When we do it again, we make it better, right? So you'll remember. So today, I've just realized what exactly what this is, and let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, yeah, baby. This is the zodiac, because this is the sky. And I know exactly what's going on here now. I've worked out this morning. I know 100% what's going on at Gobeckli Tepe. But it makes me question the 10,000 BC date, because a lot of this stuff is in our recent mythology. So I'm thinking more like 3,000 BC. They've stuffed the dating is something that I'm thinking about. I think it's more like 3,000 BC. But anyway, we've said about 2 or 3, probably 3 or 4 years ago, I said, hang on a sec. This is the sky. It's like it's like a dome. It's round like a planet. This is the sky, a dome. And these are the two pillars, the Atlas is holding up the dome. So if it was transposed to the Mediterranean, you'd have the Straits of Gibraltar and maybe Jerusalem on the other side, or Cairo or Giza or whatever, or Baalbek maybe Baalbek on one side and then Gibraltar on the other side, or something in Spain we haven't discovered yet, something megalithic. And that was what they showed holding up the sky. All the pyramids in Giza and then the Rock of Gibraltar. Who knows? But this is a dome or sky temple, and churches and mosques still have this. They still build a dome, which means time, which means world. That's where the word time comes from. Time comes from the word dome. Colander is a calendar. All these words have very interesting etymologies. Now, etymologists don't realize this because they're stuck in one field. Lots of academics, like I don't want to be mean. I want to keep it positive, but lots of academics, the only reason they're there is they have a fascination with one subject, and they don't fit into anything else on the planet. They can't do anything else. I'm a jack of all trades. I don't really fit so much into that world. I can do anything. These academics, they can only do one thing, and so they reject everything else out of hand because it doesn't fit into their imagination or their brain or their focus. They can't visualize it. They can't see it. Hence, they reject worldwide pyramids, despite worldwide pyramids. They reject worldwide megalithic, despite worldwide megalithic. They reject transatlantic contact, despite transatlantic contact. They say hominids and modern humans are only 10, 20, 30,000 years old, 40,000 years old, despite the fact we can't find any common ancestors. There are no common ancestors. Where is the aquatic common ancestor? So I've suggested millions of years old, and you might see my post I just made on the Facebook, on the community, on the YouTube community, saying, well, Charles Wright again. I don't want to be pompous about this, but I'm trying to speak the truth here. This is an ANU-lar dome. This is, did I just say something that I shouldn't have said? Yes. Hang on a sec. Let's go on. And there's quite a few of them. There's a few of them because they would be showing different things, wouldn't they? Let's see now. Okay, that's the present landscape around Gobeckli Tepe, a statue. Okay, so why are they T-shaped? Well, firstly, it's a Christian cross. Proto-Christianity, but that's part of the story, but that's not the full story. Yes, the cross was already around back then. Yes, they were proto-Christian, but that's not the full story. Why make them flat? And why make them have two faces? Because these things are in the middle of the temple. They're not just on the edge. They're not a cross up against the wall. Like a Christian cross would only have one face. You'd only see it, if that was against the wall, you'd only see one half of it. These are meant to be shown that you see both faces. In other words, it's a Janus. And I finally realized, it finally clicked this morning after years of, my subconscious knew this for years. And it finally clicked this morning. These are Januses, which makes them the ruler of the year in the Roman calendar, which makes them months. Oh, this is an annual calendar, right? I can't stop that. My brother explained it like this. Mac can control the hardware. Mac works. Windows doesn't control the hardware. So Windows barely works on different types of hardware. I've tried to switch that off and it doesn't listen to me. Okay. Just incredible. That's another one. It's the same thing. It's the twin Atlas pillars. So the Atlas pillars were also Anuses. And then you have these around. And this is the sky dome. And there's 12 of them. In that particular one, there's 12. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's months. Which means that the carvings on the pillars should be, I reckon, what do you reckon? They should be the constellations in the sky. So that's what the pictures correspond to, the constellations. And the Romans come from Turkey. This is that's the one of the that is pretty much the one of the discoverers or the excavator. Done a very good job indeed. You know, I do criticise the academics a bit because I think we could be doing a bit better, a bit faster, but they're also doing amazing work. Don't worry about that. You know, where would we be without them? So we have a Janus view of them on this channel. Bit of yin and yang there happening. Where would the day be without the night? Where would the summer be without the winter? Just amazing, guys. And we have quite a few of them. It's just like Kalanish. There's like more than one Kalanish, you know. There's lots of them. They're all pointing north-south. They're just a crucifixion of the landscape, proto-Christianity. All these ideas originating from the Dr. Koss channel, obviously. Just incredible, guys. So here we have the twin Janus, and it's actually a person because they say it's got the loin. So that's his face there. So there's two sides. They've put a loincloth. He's got the belt. He's got some kind of another belt or something. He's wearing a medallion of an H with it, and there's the medallion there. It's a person. Is it an H or is it a cross? That's interesting as well. That's most interesting. Oh no, what are we doing? Yeah. Is it a cross? Is he wearing a cross around his neck on his necklace? It's like the Byzantine cross with the two. It's double crossed. He's been double crossed. That's a double cross. You know what double crossed means, don't you? It means execution. If you get double crossed, you get executed. I've been double crossed. Double crossed me. You set me up. And then a medallion as well. See any cups? The cup was also part of this ancient proto-Christianity religion. Just fascinating. Let's go further. Okay, let's go on. So Janus, there's Janus and two-faced, but the Romans didn't know much about him. And when you read this article, you see even the Romans didn't know who he is. So it shows this actually goes back a long way. And he lives at the limits of earth and the extremity of heaven. He's a sky god. The limits of earth. We just saw that in Gobeckli Tepe. The twin pillars. The twin pillar. Twin peaks. And so I thought, okay, well, Janus sounds familiar. So let's go to a more appropriate location where we have this familiarity. Anu was the Mesopotamian god of the sky and king of the gods, a supreme figure in ancient Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, and Assyrian pantheons. Regarded as the divine personification of the sky, the ultimate source of authority and the ancestor of many deities, while a significant figure, his worship and direct involvement in myths were limited. With a shift in religious focus towards deities like Enlil as Mesopotamian cultures evolved. So what that is Proto-Judaism, Enlil, Abraham fleeing, religious persecution, fleeing all the way through Israel to Egypt and then back out again under Moses and worshipping a form of Enki they called Ea, and he was a moon, or he was an earth, or he was a water god. And look, he's the sky, the dome at Gobeckli Tepe. That's it. He's the supreme ruler of the gods, authority and justice. Kings sought approval for their rule, so kings go up to Gobeckli Tepe to be crowned. 100%. horned crown. He fathered gods. So he fathered this rebel god, Enki. Enki said, please let me keep my pet humans, and we'll reduce their lifespan from, say, 300, 600 years to maybe 80 or 100 or 50 or 120 years. What do you think? And they said, okay. And he said, good, I can keep my humans and there won't be any more overpopulation on the planet, because that was a big problem in the past. Massive overpopulation. So, these are annular temples. Janus. And he's associated with the flood and Gilgamesh. And he basically... Now, here's the problem. Now, the flood myths, Adam and Eve, in every single tradition, the story is completely different, with a completely different moral of the story, which shows me the story goes back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 years, and everyone is getting it wrong. Have you noticed in the Bible? It doesn't really make sense. The whole Bible is mysterious, and the reason you have to do Bible studies... I'm doing a Bible study with a neighbour. It's fantastic every week, and but it's always, you have to delve into it, and the reason you have to delve into it is it's so old that it doesn't make sense anymore. Don't you think? And you're going to say, give me more, Charles. Okay. So, hang on. So it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So the spouse of Anu, the sky, is Antu, so anti. So we see where we get the Latin word anti. Antu is the earth god. Just absolutely fascinating. Anti and Anu. And then Abzu. So Abzu is the abyss. So do you remember we were saying these look like pools of water with gods emerging from the pools of water. And I want to show you something interesting. In the Olmec world, this is known as a mass offering, and archaeologists don't really know what it is, but to me it's very much like Gobeckli Tepe. You have these pillars, these twin-faced pillars which look like the Stonehenge blue stones, and they're all these formless little things with funny heads looking at each other like baby humans. And the Olmecs were obsessed with this sort of morphogenesis. They showed weird baby cats, or babies with cat faces, or baby humans with weird tiger faces. And this looks a lot like what we see at Göbekli Tepe. It's just called a mass offering. Sites at Laventa and El Manati. It says the offerings were carefully arranged, like this offering number 4 here at Laventa. It featured jade and serpentine figurines positioned before a row of jade. They call them jade celts. They're calling them celts in this thing. Call them whatever you want. Golds. I don't know why archaeologists sometimes use some funny words. I tell you what, they like to invent their own words for things. And they're made out of jadeite or green stones, and we actually do see that, don't we? At in Hattusa, we see that that green cube, that strange thing similar to the thing at the Kaaba. Very interesting indeed. So that is so that they call these axes Celts for some reason. Okay, they can call them that if they want to. Okay, let's continue. So in Göbekli Tepe, it looks like these creatures are emerging from a lake, because these are depressions. These are lake-like depressions. So what's actually happening is these are called Abzu, from where I suppose we get the word spa, Apsa, Apasa, Apason, spa. Clearly this is close to the English word spa, Abzu, spa. Just a little rearrangement there. And these are spas. Why are they called spas? Because a spa is an aquifer. The waters come up from the ground in a spa. Let's just use the English word abyss. There's 2 English words from this. Abyss, it's an English word, or spa. Let's call them the abyss. All right, that's closer. And it's recorded in Greek as apason, And it's the name of fresh water from underground aquifers, which give a religious fertilizing quality in ancient Near Eastern cosmology, including Sumerian and Akkadian. It was believed that all lakes, springs, rivers, fountain rains, and even the flood originated from the Abzu. And that's what it says in the Bible. The waters come from the ground. And that's why I postulate this shrinking earth idea. If the crust suddenly compresses due to some sort of constraints, the waters go up because there's water in the mantle. And that's where it comes from. And hence we don't need the Ice Age anymore. We'll talk about that in another video. But what's happening here, what I can see that's happening here, is that this is the Genesis. The earth was flooded. So hence we're showing, Gobeckli Tepe is showing the beginning stage of a flooded earth. At the beginning of Genesis, I've interpreted it as the sun shining on the moon because the moon is the water god. So the God is shining on the waters of the deep, but it could also be God is shining on the flooded earth. The earth is totally flooded, and God has started shining on it and creating everything from this great lake. And that is exactly what we're seeing at Gobeckli Tepe. So in other words, we would expect that Anu and Abzu, and they even rhyme. So there must be a lost story called Anu and Abzu. And Anu's wife Anti. Anu, Abzu and Anti. They all rhyme. It was an old story. And so do they go together? So the question then is, do they go together? So let's just... all right, boys and girls. So I ask, is Anu related to Abzu? Yes, in Mesopotamian mythology, the supreme god Anu is the child of the primordial beings Abzu and Diamat. So the Dio. So that's got the word two in it. So that could be that's also another ANU-lar thing, two-faced, who later gave birth to the god Anshar and the goddess Kishar, who were in turn parents of Anu. Additionally, some Sumerian texts also list Anu. Abzu is Anu's direct parent often. So the waters of the deep, Abzu, and the sky above Anu are related, and they are presented together at Gobeckli Tepe. You know, this is some of my best work in this video. I'm very proud. Sorry if I'm coming off a bit pompous, but I'm very happy with what we're doing here today. And you leave your comments below. So this is what's happening at Gobeckli Tepe. To summarize, an ANU-lar temple of Anu, holding up the sky with Atlassian or Waterian. So this is why Atlas is associated with the water. Do you see? Because the god Adla, Oda, water. We've talked about this in another video. That's now a members video, I think, because people didn't like it. Some people were attacking me and going mental, and I don't know why they do that on YouTube, but it happens to every YouTuber. We see why Atlas is named after the water, and I was saying, well, why is Atlas named after water? It's because he's standing in the water. These are the two Atlas pillars, standing in the water, so they're Adla, Oda, water. They're standing in the water of the great lake of creation. Here we have the 12 months around them, the carvings on the months. They're two-faced. Why are they two-faced? Because one month is looking at the next month as they go around the zodiac. We have Deciphering, using current mythology, Gobeckli Tepe. And this is the best work you will find online. Done with it.